The dust of the old convent chapel tasted of decay and forgotten prayers. Sister Agnes was the last soul left within its stone ribs, a final, flickering candle against a rising tide of shadow. The order had moved on, deeming the ancient building unfit, but Agnes had stayed. This was her home. And, though she would never admit it, her penance. Her elder sister, Isabella, had been the true believer, the one destined for sainthood. It was Isabella who had first encountered the entity that called itself Valak, a name Agnes only dared to think in the deepest recesses of her mind. Isabella's faith had been a fortress, but the thing in the nun's habit had laid siege to it, stone by holy stone, until nothing was left but a scream that still echoed in the high, vaulted ceilings. Isabella was gone. But the thing that had haunted her was not. Night fell, draping the chapel in a silence so profound it felt like a physical weight. Agnes knelt before the bare altar, its cloth long since removed. Her rosary beads were cold in her trembling fingers. Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, she began, her voice a fragile thread in the immense dark. A soft shush of fabric whispered from the choir loft above. Agnes froze, her prayer dying on her lips. It was the sound of a habit brushing against stone. She held her breath, ears straining. Nothing. Only the frantic drumming of her own heart. It is only the wind, she whispered to herself, the lie tasting bitter. Or a rat. She tried to resume, her voice now a shaky murmur. Ora pro nobis peccatoribus. Tap. 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 The sound of measured, unhurried footsteps on the flagstone aisle behind her. They were too heavy to be a rat, too deliberate to be the wind. Agnes squeezed her eyes shut, tears welling beneath the lids. She would not look. Faith was her shield. It had to be. Isabella, protect me, she breathed, invoking the sister she had failed to save. The footsteps stopped directly behind her. The air grew frigid, leaching the warmth from her skin. The scent of old rotten damp soil filled her nostrils, choking out the smell of dust and wax. A shadow fell over her, longer and sharper than any natural silhouette, stretching across the altar and up the wall, a monstrous distortion of a cornet. Slowly, against every screaming instinct in her body, Agnes opened her eyes. The figure was reflected in the tarnished gold of a sacramental plate left abandoned on the altar. It stood tall and impossibly thin, its face a cavern of white void punctuated by eyes that were not eyes, but pools of absolute blackness. It was the face that had haunted her nightmares since childhood, the face that had grinned at Isabella moments before she was taken. Valak. It had not come for the chapel. It had come for her. The final sister. A sound escaped Agnes's throat, a pathetic whimper that was meant to be a prayer. The thing behind her tilted its head, a gesture of grotesque curiosity. No breath stirred the air. Only a profound, soul-crushing silence. It began to lean forward, its void-like face moving toward the crook of her neck. Agnes could feel the cold emanating from it, a frost that promised not death, but an endless, silent oblivion. Her faith, her prayers, her reason all shattered. The rosary clattered to the floor, beads scattering like fleeing insects. She was not alone. She never had been. And as the icy touch met her skin, Sister Agnes's prayer finally turned into the scream her sister had uttered years before. It was a raw, terror-filled sound that ripped through the sacred silence, a fleeting human noise soon swallowed by the patient, unholy quiet that had already claimed the altar.